Very good Saturday morning to all of you out there across the Wobbles country and beyond. Landon here with you to bring you your latest whether or not update regarding the impending winter storm, courtesy of none other than our friends at On Target. Go ahead and save that number right there just in case you might need them. A little bit later this weekend into early next week, the latest winter weather headlines are out and posted. We have the entirety of the Wobbles community, Warren, Allen, Barron, Butler, Logan, Edmondson, and Simpson County, that has been labeled underneath a winter weather advisory with points northward, including Ohio, Grayson County, over into Hart County, have been upgraded to a winter storm warning. We had the winter storm watch that was out yesterday for Butler and Edmonson County, and then was expanded through the rest of the region. But with the latest model guidance, our partners up at the National Weather Service have placed a winter weather advisory for us here and in the heart of our community. All right, so let's jump right into it, folks. We are looking at the latest surface map overlaid with the latest satellite imagery. All right, we got this area of high pressure down here to our south that's going to continue to scoot on down across the deep south. That's going to open up the door for this deepening low pressure system to track off in basically a southeast to east direction here. And this is the particular weather maker that we're keeping very, very close eyes on, as the impending result could be some winter weather impacts across the region. Speaking of across the region, let's get a look, shall we? B.H. James Distiller Sky Camp down in Adairsville, Logan County, right there along the Tennessee line. Got a mackerel sky with some broken clouds moving across the region. Can jump over and look over Bowling Green, courtesy of the White Squirrel Weather Nest Cam atop WKU. We got the overcast skies that appear to be moving in over there as well. And last but certainly not least, Beach Tree News Sky Cam showing some thicker cloud cover arriving over the heart of Morgantown. Temperatures are chilly out there. We've got readings located anywhere between the low and mid 20s region wide. And folks, we're going to pump the brakes on these temperatures as we work between the low and mid 50s as we get into this afternoon. Going to keep that northerly flow and that northerly wind component around. That's going to help mitigate those temperatures as the day progresses and wears on. So let's jump right into it. Let's get a look at the latest model guidance, what this morning's models are showcasing. We are watching the deepening area of low pressure located here over to the west that we were just looking at on the surface map. It makes its way eastward, and then by the time we roll into right around lunchtime on into mid-morning on Saturday, this is where our surface map is going to be set up as. Warm front lifting right through, bisecting across the region. We got the warm conveyor belt drawing the warm, moist air out of the south, dumping it over the cold conveyor belt to the north and northwest side of that area of low pressure. That is where the sub-freezing air is going to be located, and thus resulting in the highest amount of wintry precipitation. As is typical with these systems, we are, in the words of Johnny Cash, walking the line, and we're going to break down about what we're seeing this unfold here, right? So you can see as this thing evolves and then tracks eastward, we're going to be getting a mixed variety of precipitation out of this. I think beginning very early tomorrow morning, we could get in on a little bit of snow before a changeover to a wintry mix of sleet, freezing rain, and snow. But then we're going to have what's referred to as the warm nose that's going to punch up in here. And that's going to cut down on frozen precipitation totals. That's why we're not, overly confident of major impacts impacting us here across the Wobbles community. But a bit of icing and some snow on top of that could definitely result in some hazardous travel conditions for us. So let's take a look here, folks. We're looking at the 925 millibar level. We're talking about getting upwards of around 2,000 to 3,000 feet in the atmosphere up above our head. And this is important to watch and monitor because it is showcasing the shallow layer of warm air that's going to be punching up in here right along and ahead of the low. So as we work into the overnight, folks, we still got the cold air that's locked in across the region. This is right during the pre-dawn hours of our Sunday morning. This is where we're going to have some concern for the initial round of wintry weather to bring some travel implications for us. And then as we work throughout the day on Sunday, folks, you'll note, look at this warm nose that is coming right up and along with this area of low pressure that's going to be running right along and skirting somewhere along the Kentucky-Tennessee border And this southerly flow is having that warm nose eat in there to the lower layers of the atmosphere that could be causing that precipitation to melt before it hits the ground. The warm nose becomes very pronounced as we work through the latter part of our Sunday afternoon and throughout our Sunday evening. And then that low finally pulls off to our east, and then we have the crashing temperatures right here on the back side of it that could result in another round of some travel implications for us late Sunday night and throughout the Monday morning time frame. All right. So, Landon, do you have a simpler explanation of what a warm nose is? Actually, we do. Take a look here. This is a wonderful graphic that's been produced, and you can see whenever we get the warm nose of air that just infiltrates in throughout the atmosphere, you can see how it gobbles up the sub-freezing air, and it doesn't allow for snow or even sleet to make it to the ground before changing over to either freezing rain or, in some instances, like I think what we're going to see here throughout Sunday afternoon and evening, over to a simple plain Jane rain for an extended period of time before that changeover happens yet again as we work into late Sunday night on into our Monday morning. So let's take a look at what the implications are with the warm nose coming up in here out of the south. Here we are working through late tonight. And then as initially mentioned, right around sunrise tomorrow morning, we're still going to have the cold air locked in. So we're expecting an initial round of snowfall that could be mixed in with sleet at times. And then very quickly, that's going to transition over, as you can see here, roughly around lunchtime on, over to a plain Jane rain or a freezing rain event with the arrival of the warm nose that we were just talking about and looking at on the previous model run. So it looks like we would be going through a period of plain rain throughout the at least the mid and latter part, if not the early to latter part of our Sunday afternoon, continuing throughout the evening with a low right here on our doorstep. And then we get the changeover on the back side whenever we have strong winds that are coming here out of the north and west and bring a little bit more freezing rain, maybe some scattered light snow showers to come on top of that. They might put us a little dusting up to around the inch or two of snow on the ground before this is all said and done. But folks, with winter weather, we're not worried about amounts necessarily, given what our trends are showing. We're focusing on impacts, all right? Freezing rain is difficult to see with the naked eye. Whenever you look out there initially, it might just look like wet pavement, but in fact, it'll be like an ice skating rink out there, okay? So that'll be something that we pay close attention to with this particular weather maker. If we get lucky, if you're a snow lover like me, lucky that is, we could squeeze out an inch or two of snowfall on the back side of this, but right now, I'm not overly confident in that actually coming to fruition, all right? In addition to what we're talking about, watch the play of what the warm nose does with our surface temperatures. Here we are working into the early morning hours of our Sunday, and we are walking that line between the 30 and 32 degree mark, which is, of course, the freezing threshold. Then as we get into Sunday afternoon, we warm up, and folks, the latest short-term model guidance is having us warm up significantly. It has us hitting around the 40 degree mark by 6 p.m. It even pushes us to the 50 degree mark by 11 p.m. Sunday. I don't know how confident I am in that, folks, but if we hit 50 degrees, that is really going to help mitigate some impacts out there, to say the least. It holds us there and keeps us above freezing, even as we roll through the early morning hours of our Monday. But remember, folks, as Monday wears on, those temperatures are going to tumble and fall back down. So if we get any snow back here on the back side, anything that falls, we'll be able to stick with the wet roadways. If we do get that warm, put a nice coating of ice or black ice on the roadways, throw a little bit of snow on top of it. It could get slicker than a baby well out there, if you know what I mean. In addition to that as well, folks, this will be more important for folks who receive copious amounts of ice accretion on power lines and trees, which thankfully currently look to be just north or right along the northern tier of the Wobbles community, is going to be our winds that are going to kick up on the back side of this. So here we are working through precipitation onset right around sunrise Sunday morning. with winds gusting upwards of 15 to 25 miles an hour. Pretty much stays there throughout the day. Then we get into the overnight and they pick back up, and look on the back side of the low that tries to make its way in here. We got 30 or 40 mile an hour gusts that's going to be drawn in. So folks, again, where the heaviest icing is expected just to our west and north currently, but could obviously impact us here as well if those ice amounts do come to fruition. You throw 30 to 40 mile an hour winds on top of that, folks, with all the weight from the ice on the power lines and trees. We can obviously be looking at down trees, down power lines, and some power outages if this thing was to over exceed what the current model trends are showcasing, all right? In addition to that, I would like to point out something else. Remember, we warm up between the 40s and 50s as we work into tomorrow afternoon on into tomorrow evening. We could be looking at the possibility of some thunderstorms. No, I'm not joking. Temperatures between the 40 to 50 degree mark with a low pressure running right along our vicinity. We could be getting in on a little bit of instability nosing up in here along with that warm nose, creating the opportunity at a few thunderstorms here. And if it stretches far enough north with the precipitation changeover, some folks across Kentucky might even get in on some thunder snow or maybe even some thunder sleet to go along with that, all right? So here we are going to take a look, and we're going to jump over here and showcase the latest from our partners at the National Weather Service, all right? We can bring this up for you here. We are looking at the latest, and these are the winter weather headlines for the entire state. As previously mentioned, the bottom two rows of counties here in and around the Wobbles community is underneath a winter weather advisory, but folks, right on our border, this is why we need to watch this so closely, winter storm warnings and ice storm warnings plague a good portion of the Commonwealth. We'll be waiting for the morning model guidance to come in to see if the National Weather Service alters or changes any of these headlines. They did mention in this morning's forecast discussion that that could definitely become a possibility. Potential winter storm impacts, we have been labeled between minor and moderate impacts here in and around Wobbles country. Obviously, primary concern of this will be hazardous driving conditions, and if we do get any ice accretion on the power lines and on trees out there. But you can see where the heavier icing and snowfall is expected is straddling right along either side of the Ohio River, all right? So jumping back over here, we're going to show you the latest probabilities of our expected snowfall forecast. They've got anything from nothing at all up to around an inch or 2 inches of total snowfall. For the bulk of Wobbles, those of you along the northern tier of the region, that would include Butler County and Edmonson County, you could get in on a little bit more, perhaps on the upward trend of anywhere between half an inch of an inch all the way up to 3 inches of snow before it's all said and done. This is where our focus continues to reside, folks. The possibility of total ice accumulations coming along with this. 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice, folks. If we get that, we could look at some power outages, especially with those strong winds on the backside. And folks, note just to the west of the region, they've outlined 1/4 of an inch up to potentially half an inch of total ice accumulation. So not very far, bordering right up on our western border and northern border there. This is why we're going to be frequently updating over the course of the next 48 hours and bringing you the latest trends that we are seeing, all right? So one more time, folks, if we can jump back over here before we get off of here and show you the 6-day forecast, we're going to zoom in and show you our headlines. Winter weather advisory currently out for a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. All possible from very early Sunday morning, right around sunrise, all the way through Monday afternoon. Travel is expected to become slick at times and be negatively impacted, all right? Another big weather story, folks, is going to be the frigid cold that's coming in behind this weather system, and you can see that looking at our 6-day forecast brought to you by Ohio Valley Insurance. For today, partly sunny. We've already seen some clouds moving in. Highs locked into right around the mid-30s. Widespread wintry mix overnight all the way through our Monday. Switching over to rain showers for an extended period of time before a changeover back early Monday morning. And then the bottom gets drug out from our temperatures. Highs in the upper 20s, lower 30s Tuesday, down into the single digits to lower teens Tuesday night. Mid 20s both Wednesday into Thursday, with the possibility of single digits both Wednesday and Thursday night as well. And with any luck, folks, we might squeeze above freezing on Friday, but right now it doesn't look like it. We're going to be going on an extended streak of sub-freezing temperatures here. Obviously important to take note of for any of us that get in on the significant icing, especially where I think will be just north of our region. You need to be prepared ahead of time, all right? Go ahead and get your food if you need to go get that. I went to Kroger this morning, just got a few things, folks. I don't think that this is going to be a major deal, but for some of us out there, we could be trapped in our houses here for a day or two, so that'll be worth taking note of, all right? That's going to wrap up your Saturday morning weather or not forecast. Brought to you by On Target. Save the number, folks, if you need anything involving disasters regarding water leaks, you got any roof leaks, anything of that nature. God forbid if we have a tree that's downed on your house. They have an emergency line available 24/7. They are absolute all-stars and a big reason why we have chosen them as our community partner to help bring you these weather updates as necessary. All right, you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Have a safe and blessed remainder of the weekend on into the early days